because I really want to get your take on like Jalen Hurts through 9 games. Like, I don't know where I am yet with him. There's so much that I like about him as far as like intangibles, the leadership factor, the way he is seems to command the huddle, the teammates, respond to him and all those kinds of things. He's a good guy, good practice player and, just goes out there and sets a great example and all that kind of stuff. But as far as the arm and just the ability to play quarterback in the pocket, I still don't have any answers yet. And I just wanted to get your take on that. Tuesday here on The Middle. And we got a bunch of the middle is gone today, but we filled it adequately, more than adequately enough, with Big Sills taking over.
You think I can fill a page?
I think you can fill the page. Absolutely. Taking over for Barrett Brooks and Eitan Shander today. I am Harry Mays. We'll be with you for the next 2 hours. And I think we're going to talk football, Big Sills. What do you think about that?
That is the best thing going on right now in the world of sports is football. The NBA, I don't know. Baseball, we just get out of the World Series. And I got to tell you, Harry, football right now has done something that has really made the other sports kind of second fiddle. The water cooler talk. Yeah. Monday through Friday, you know what? I mean, it used to be where, we waited for weekends. We waited for Saturday for college. We waited Sunday for the NFL. You've got Aaron Rodgers stories. You've got Odell Beckham stories. You've got what's going on with Nick Sirianni. You've got people talking, hey, maybe Jalen's playing a little bit better than what we thought he's playing. There's so many great storylines around the National Football League and around the Eagles right now. So, again, this is something the NFL is – this is why they are the gold standard in sports.
Oh, yeah, it's a 12-month sport, if you ask me. It really is. And sometimes, I have to be honest, the offseason is as good or better than the actual season when they're playing. I mean, you take, for instance, last night's game. I mean, it's kind of – you look at that matchup and you're like – and I hate the freaking Chicago Bears. I hate watching them. I hate being forced to watch the Chicago Bears. I don't give a damn who their quarterback is. And Fields played a pretty good game last night.
Did.
But watching that game, Pittsburgh is playing ugly. I mean, their offense stinks. Ben Roethlisberger is shot. But I'm watching it. It's Monday night. What else am I going to do? I'm watching the game. I was wishing beyond belief that there was a Manning cast last night. I've been dialing in on the Manning cast each and every week that they're on, and I don't tune away. I don't know about you.
Oh, I love it. You know what? Because if I was a young receiver or quarterback or someone who wanted to play football, I'd sit there with a notepad and just sit there and listen to how these guys watch the game.
I know.
It's completely different than just a novice fan just sitting back and going, hey, man, look at the way Fields is playing. And then you can hear Eli and Peyton. Then they bring on like Tom Brady, they bring on Drew Brees, and these guys are talking about over coverage, Tampa 2-style defenses. Hey, look, do you see the strong safety gives it away? Look, he just totally gave it away with his alignment. And you're sitting there going like this. That's exactly how professional people watch the game.
Right.
They get those tablets, they sit there, and they just watch tendencies all day long. That's something, Harry, that I've never been able to shake to in how I watch a game. I watch a game with tendencies. And what I do is say, like, somebody was asking me about the Eagle game yesterday on the National Football Show. They were asking me, so how do you think they played in this game against the Chargers? I'm like, I don't really look at it, how they played against the Chargers. Yes, that's a small chapter so far in the 9 games. But to me, I look at the overall body of work of 9 games. Like when someone said to me, the Cowboys got killed by the Broncos, which they did.
Yeah, they
did. Is there a template now to beat Dallas? Yeah, because Dallas is not the defense that people think it is. They had a lot of turnovers, and how I was looking at them was in those first 6-7 games, they were getting a lot of turnovers. Denver just ran the football down their throat. They went to some of the stuff that they did a year ago, right between the tackles and off the 2-guard, and they ended up just running them off the field. So I look at it the same way, too. Barrett and I were talking about this a couple weeks ago, Harry. We were looking at the tendencies. I don't know, man. I'll tell you this about the Eagles. I think they're getting better offensively. Defensively, it's still yet to be a work in progress because they just don't disguise anything, and it's just too predictable over on that side of the ball. They're getting better. They're getting better on the offensive side.
They are when they decide to commit to running the football.
Correct.
The thing that bothered me, and Eitan and I got into it yesterday a little bit about it, is like I didn't see that as their game plan to start the game because it took until the third possession until they started to run the football. So that told me, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, that the game plan was to start throwing the football and put him in shotgun and go through the air, and that wasn't working. So then they went back to like, well, let's get the run plays in here. And that bothered me.
But that's a flawed mentality too.
Yeah,
because you've got to. Bill Belichick, one of the greatest things that team, when he had Tom Brady and those guys were going through that dynasty, they were chameleons each week, which meant this. You didn't know what style of offense or defense that they were going to play that respected week because they went to what they were playing and the weaknesses of the opponent.
Right.
That's why you saw, Harry, a lot of hybrid guys like Vrabel, Bruschi, guys who could put their hand down in the dirt and stand up in a 3 technique or a 2 technique. They had those versatile guys. That's why you went, who's really like the biggest defensive guys they ever had on that side of the ball? Richard Seymour, maybe this Hightower kid, Stephon Gilmore. It wasn't a collection of superstar guys. And and what they did was, again, if you're going to play against the Chargers, they are struggling mightily against the run. You saw how many times Jalen broke down the perimeter because Joey Bosa was crashing down inside. Why are you crashing down inside? You've got to set the edges. And when you're going to set the edges against a guy like Jalen, he struggles inside the pocket. He got outside the pocket. They were able to get the running game going. They saw that they had some magic, and that's why they went for over 170 yards, was because they were able to do it. But like you said, Nick Sirianni's mentality is this. And, Harry, it's evident in all 9 games so far. Right out of the gate, this guy wants to spread you out immediately. He's trying to spread you out to create passing lanes and lanes. And that works if you're not doing RPOs and you're chucking the ball on the seam or you're chucking the ball to wideouts and you're able to have play action pass.
Right.
You know, they've not been able to establish play action pass, but when they run the ball, they are. By the way, I got to show you this. Our people here at the JAKIB Media Channel, look at this thing here, man. No. Somebody sent me a Jerome Brown. Look at this little card here, man, from when he was with the Eagles here.
That's against the Niners. Is that against the Niners?
Yeah, it's against the Niners. It's against McIntyre. I played against that guy. Yeah, man. So, I mean, look at this. These people are so fantastic. I see 98 jerseys all the time.
That's
over there at the link.
Yeah. Jerome, he died, grew up and then passed away near where my mom lives in Florida.
Oh, in Brooksville,
near
right?
Brooksville. Yeah.
Oh, my God. What?
Sad.
Hey, and you know what? I'll tell you this. The second best defensive tackle that they've had probably since Jerome Brown is Fletcher Cox, and I was kind of glad to see that they kept him.
Well, I don't think they could afford to get rid of him because of the dead money even if they trade him was prohibitive. Now, I'm sure they fielded a bunch of phone calls on Fletcher.
They did.
And I'm sure they would have liked to have parted ways if they could have afforded it because they know that he's, now is crested and he's on the downside and, probably won't be around here, playing at a high level when the Eagles get really good again. So send him to another team and let him help somebody else get to the playoffs. But the contract, they kicked the can down the road too many times on some of these contracts, and they're now untradeable. But I wanted to get back to the Eagles offense because I really want to get your take on like Jalen Hurts through 9 games. Like, I don't know where I am yet with him. There's so much that I like about him as far as like intangibles, the leadership factor, the way he is seems to command the huddle, the teammates, respond to him and all those kinds of things. He's a good guy, good practice player and, just goes out there and sets a great example and all that kind of stuff. But as far as the arm and just the ability to play quarterback in the pocket, I still don't have any answers yet. And I just wanted to get your take on that.
Well, let me throw this at you here. I put these numbers together, and he's trending for 950 yards rushing. He's trending for 3,700 yards passing. He's trending for 300 completions, 20 touchdowns versus 7 interceptions. 62, you'd like to see that number around 64, 65 in completion percentage.
Yeah.
And he's also trending at 92 quarterback rating. Would you take that, Harry, for a guy that's only started 8 games, 9 games?
I would. The completion percentage is concerning because a lot of that stuff is short passes too.
It's
which
accuracy too. Accuracy issues
right.
he had
the
since he's been in
accuracy is an
Bama.
issue. It's been an issue. So, but other than that, yes, I would for a player, that has only started how many, ever games. What has he started? 12, 13 games, something like that. So yeah, I would.
And I would throw this at you too. The key is developing other guys. Well, right now, Devontae Smith is on pace for 70 catches and 1,000 yards reception. It may not seem all the time that they're getting him the ball, but he's going to have a grand if things keep rolling the way they're rolling. So the offense right now, I think all those numbers have picked up because of what you said a couple minutes ago, is because they're able to run the football a lot more effectively now, and you're starting to see play action be a factor. His accuracy issues concern me a lot, okay? And I think he's a cheap man's version of Lamar Jackson, okay? He's a cheap man's version of that, okay?
Is he Tyrod Taylor-esque to you?
I think he runs more than Tyrod. I think Tyrod wins some games from the pocket. Remember something about Tyrod Taylor? He went to the Pro Bowl as a quarterback with the Bills. The kid can play. Is he a frontline guy? No, he's not a frontline guy. But to me, he's more kind of like a Baker Mayfield kind of guy. He's in that kind of category. I think if Jalen is on that Browns team, I think Jalen's doing the same stuff that Baker Mayfield's on. Baker's probably a little more. Baker's probably a little bit more accurate than what Jalen is. Jalen's accuracy issues, I think, can improve. I just don't know how much it's going to improve. So to your point, do I think that he is a guy you want to go forward with? Here, I'll give it to you this way. If you can't convince one of these big-time guys to want to come here, Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, Deshaun Watson, whatever in the offseason, if you can't convince one of those guys, I'm cool moving forward with them. But I'll throw this at you too, Harry. I'll tell you what, man, I don't have a problem if they clear waivers with Odell Beckham. Man, I'd like to see Howie Roseman do this.
Wow. That's
Check
today,
this out
too.
here. Now, let me throw this at you here because I've been throwing it out on my show here, the National Football Show. Okay, so I have Devontae Smith on one side. I've got Odell Beckham on the other side. Okay, well, if I'm a free agent and I'm Aaron Rodgers or I'm Russell Wilson and I walk to the line of scrimmage and I see Dallas Goedert and then I see Devontae Smith and I see Odell Beckham and I see an improving running game
in the background, in the backfield,
right. And get this. Is it a dangling chip for – this is what Brady looked at. When Brady was looking for a team, he was looking for weapons. And then maybe in the process, get this, does Devontae Adams, who's going to be a free agent at the end of this year, go with Aaron Rodgers and say, well, let me add Rodgers to this mix. Let me add Adams to this. And look at what the Eagles all of a sudden had. Look at what Brady brought. He brought Gronk. He brought AB into the room. Then he got Leonard Fournette in the room. And before you know, you got the best offense in the National Football League. I'm just saying, to me, the outlier is going to be Howie Roseman.
Right.
If I'm a quarterback, do I go like this? Do I want that guy that involved in the process here? Jason Licht, the GM of the Buccaneers, works with Bruce Arians and the team. Howie kind of like runs the team.
I know.
So I think there's still a lot of dynamics, but hey, man, at the right price, I'm not picking that $7.5 million price tag up, but I'll tell you what, at league minimum, I don't know how teams don't just say, let me bring him on for a year.
Yeah, now he's got, till 4 o'clock today?
Yes.
He'll clear waivers by then, right?
Yeah, I think I think Seattle, the Chiefs,
Patriots,
and the Packers will be
Patriots too.
Patriots too.
Yeah, I think they're always in the mix for one of those veteran-type receivers that they can get somewhat on
What if he goes to Dallas?
Oh, well, I don't know. I don't know.
Well, they've made stupider moves.
Yeah, they have. They have. That might have been the most bizarre game of last week. I mean, I know you had the Rams go down to Tennessee without Derrick Henry. That was a big shocker. You had Arizona rise up without their 2 best players and beat San Francisco on the road.
McCoy.
Yeah,
dude,
Colt
I
McCoy.
I thought that guy was either dead or out of the league. I had no idea who he was.
I thought he was working for Sarkisian back in Austin.
Right. I go, the Texas quarterback, that kid back. I was like, holy crap.
He had like a pop gun arm. Yeah.
Dude, they beat the hell out of them. Hey, by the way, Kyle Shanahan, I would say this to you. Hey, man, you got to start winning some ball games, dude.
Yeah.
I mean,
outside
that
of the
last
Super
name.
Bowl year. Yeah,
Hey,
outside of
man.
the Super Bowl year, you look at his record, it's horrendous.
Hey, if you fire Doug Peterson, you surely could fire that guy.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And the funny thing about him is there was a couple years ago, like it was probably the year that they went to the Super Bowl. I'm thinking, man, this guy is an unbelievable play caller,
I
right?
know.
And he made who was the quarterback that the Eagles had in preseason? He was terrible. But he was with Shanahan in San Francisco, and he was a Southern Miss quarterback, Mullins. He actually made that guy look somewhat serviceable. I'm like, man, this Shanahan's something. And now they're terrible.
Yeah, no,
absolutely
caught up
terrible.
in his offense, and now all of a sudden you're going like this, dude. Even Jimmy Garoppolo can't save this guy here. And you notice this: they're not putting Trey Lance in the game.
They're not putting him in there
because he has to win ball games.
Right.
Who would have thought this too, Harry? That at the beginning of the year, people were going like this. I don't really know about this Cliff Kingsbury guy. I don't know if he's the right guy. And then he takes a backup quarterback to San Francisco, beats the pants off him. This guy might have the best team in the NFC right now.
Yeah, I think this week it's a week-to-week thing, as you know. But they're the best team right now in the NFL. If you ask me.
Absolutely.
I mean, especially with what happened to Buffalo. How do you explain what happened to Buffalo? Is that just a sleepwalk situation where you're just going down there thinking like, all right, let's just roll the balls out. We're going to win this easily by 10 points.
You burned the tape on that one because what you do is you correct your mistakes, but you just move on from that because there's no explaining that except for this. That was poor preparation, I think, mentally by the players. The coaches are never, ever going to look at an opponent and not prepare for a particular opponent. They don't care. But the players going, oh, it's Jacksonville. Hey, Harry, I got to tell you this. So I get my first couple games. I go up to Green Bay, and we go play this Lindy Infante Green Bay team.
Oh, I remember him.
I looked at that. I was looking at their roster. They sucked out loud. They had some guy named Lynn Dickey quarterback.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And I think the Magic Man was just in the room, right? So I'm like, oh, these guys suck. Man, these guys beat the pants off us. I was like, I didn't realize how close sucking and being great is in the NFL. Dude, the difference between a 6-10 team back in the day and a 10-6 team back in the day, it's probably 20 plays a game. And it's not that much of a difference. So if you don't show up, especially in the parity league that we have today, Harry,
right?
The league is so even. There's just a handful of teams that are really perfect. Like what would you say this year of all the years in the NFL? Is there a true dominant football team in the NFL where you went like this? Now that team right there is going to win the Super Bowl. I can't find one.
No, none of them last for more than a week or two. Like once I start believing in the Rams, they do what they did the other night. Once I start believing in Dallas, they do what they. You know what I mean? Like it's like you start to get an idea about a team. Wow, this could be that team. Like Green Bay started out the year with that awful performance in Jacksonville against the Saints, and that threw me for a loop. Then they put together a run where they're starting to look like the best team, and then the quarterback goes and gets COVID. So it's like once you start believing in a squad, they just give you a reason to say, nope, not yet.
Hey, let me ask you this. Not to talk vaccinations or anything here, because I think it's a stupid conversation. To me, whatever somebody wants to do, they go ahead and do it. It's on your life. It's on your life. Whatever you want to do here. How'd you make this whole thing with Aaron Rodgers?
I kind of agree with Jimmy Johnson and the guys on the Fox pregame show. I mean, they let him have it because I just think it's beyond a political conversation. It's beyond even a health thing. To me, it's about your teammates. If you're in a situation on a team, it's a different dynamic than you just going and working for yourself at home. You know what I mean? Like you have a responsibility to be available for them. And that's where I kind of put it upon him, where I would have just sucked it up and done it. I might not have liked to have done it. I got vaccinated. I didn't want to, but I did. And, it's funny. I went to my doctor yesterday, a cardiologist, to go for an appointment. I needed to show them that I got vaccinated in order to go see my doctor. How screwed up is that?
Oh, no. No, there's consequences when you make decisions on things. And I threw this out yesterday. And by the way, I'm not comparing health issues versus consequences here. So like when the BLM people decided not to play, and I think it was the Bucks and the Magic that decided not to play. And I'm talking consequences. I'm not talking health here. So I just want I'm asking when people make a statement and they have an opinion on something. That was over the George Floyd murder. And what did people do? All of a sudden, everybody in the NBA decided that they were going to honor George Floyd. Okay, so be it. It was an awful and ugly scene. There were consequences to that down the line, though. Half the NBA's audience no longer watches the NBA because it became political.
Mm-hmm.
My question to you is about the NFL becoming a political vehicle here when it comes to vaccinations. Okay, Harry, I agree with you 100%. He owes everything to his team. Why is the NFL making these guys so the protocols are public, where you're outing these guys, where the media can beat the shit out of these guys every single day they can? It's not about the 7-1 record he had. It's not about the fact that he's the reigning MVP. It's more about the fact here that he can't play. He's been outed by his organization and the NFL. Where's the NFL Players Association? Where's Tom Brady and these guys backing your union member? I agree with you when you say this. Look, we're all in this rowing the boat. You can't have one guy with oars rowing in a different direction, because you'll start running in circles. But why did the NFL decide that they had to be a political party for vaccinations? You're a football league, Harry. Look at what Major League Baseball did. They moved the All-Star game out of Atlanta, and they didn't even realize that Colorado had stricter rules when it came to voter rights, and they didn't even look at it that way. They just looked at it by moving the All-Star game because they wanted to be politics. My point is, you endanger yourself as a company because Michael Jordan had it right. Hey, Republicans buy sneakers too.
I know.
And so that's my theory was, dude, you making the protocols public and putting it out there, what you're doing is the Cole Beasleys of the world, you're making it seem, and by the way, I'm not anti-vax and anything, and nor is anybody in this country. You know why? Look, polio vaccination, smallpox, we had them all when we were kids. I've had 16 vaccinations in my life as an American. So, I mean,
the HPV vaccination.
Yeah. Remember that little thing you used to get on your arm over here?
Yeah, that was with glass. They did that with glass. Yeah. Yeah. I forget what that was for.
My problem was just that the NFL is like so out in front of this that I think just like the Kaepernick story, I think you can alienate some of your fan base when you do this.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. But the thing is too, Rodgers and I guess his teammates and the organization knew that he really wasn't vaccinated. Like he did this immunized. He thought he was immunized with this other concoction or whatever that he's been taking. But they still allowed him to behave as if he was vaccinated by not wearing the mask. Like Wentz has to wear the mask when he does media availability.
Yes.
Wentz has to wear the mask when he's running off the sidelines to go into the tunnel at halftime. You can see him putting the mask on. And I think it's stupid, but that's their rule.
It is.
But Rodgers wasn't doing any of that. And so he's behaving as if he was truly vaccinated when he wasn't. And I think
now, is that him or the Packers? Though,
I don't know. I think it's both. I think somebody's going to have to pay a price.
According to the CBA, get this. There's no suspensions that will be handed down on this. The only thing will be fines with the player and the organization. So if you're running around like you're acting like you're vaccinated, isn't that on the Packers?
Partly, yes, it is. They're both at fault.
They may be the best team. And by the way, can you imagine this? What if that game costs them home field advantage?
That's the thing. That's what I'm talking about. You might end up having to go to Arizona or Los Angeles now for an NFC championship game rather than having those two warm weather teams, either one of those teams coming to frigid Lambeau in late January.
That's right.
I mean, I know Tampa Bay did it last year, but my money's going to be on Green Bay at home in late January. I don't know about yours.
Oh, I agree. I'll be hey, let me tell you something. When you get off the airplane and you're driving over from Appleton and you're going over to Green Bay, there's these things called baguettes. They start freezing.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine playing in that kind of stuff.
Oh, man. Man, you roll over there to Lambeau. What's really cool, my uncle Andy Robustelli played on that same field, and Lombardi put these coils under. He had this system. It's still intact.
I didn't know he was your uncle.
Yeah, he's my uncle.
Oh, wow. So,
get this. Well, yeah, that's why I got the jersey here, man. This is his.
Oh, okay. Now I see it. I didn't see
that.
Yeah,
you know what this is? This is his ring of. This is probably crazy showing Philly guys this, but this is his Ring of Honor jersey that when he went into the New York Giants Ring of Honor.
Awesome. Yeah,
this is his jersey that he had that night when he went in. So Lombardi put this system in, right? These coils, and I used to go, come on, Andy. it's BS. I get up there, man. Sure enough, the ground is heated. The ground is heated. On the night of the Ice Bowl, it broke, and that's why that game was like on a sheet of ice. But it's one of the coldest places.
Oh,
man,
yeah.
that place is just freezing cold. And you're right. If I got to play a game, an NFC title game, I want it in L.A. at SoFi.
Or it might be like Dan Fouts' Chargers in '81 when they had to go to Cincinnati in that 26 below zero game.
And get this, you remember the week before they were at the Orange Bowl sweating their ass off
in that classic game against the Dolphins.
That's right, man. That hook and lateral play.
Was it Kellen Winslow or something, right?
Yeah, Kellen Winslow getting carried off the field. Then they go to the next week, and it's 38 below.
I don't even know if they scored in that game in Cincinnati.
That game was so cold. The only other game I could think of, I remember talking to Jerome. The Eagles played in this fog bowl, I think, in Chicago.
Oh, yeah. That was in '88, I believe.
Hey, and Jerome goes, I couldn't see the back. It was so
You couldn't see the goalposts.
You couldn't see it. He goes like this. I had never been in a game. Like, how do you feel punts?
Yeah, I know. That should have been postponed.
It should have been. That was such
a joke.
Such a bad. Hey, but the defensive side of the ball, again, you know, we were talking with Gary Cobb yesterday from Fox 29 in Philly.
Yeah.
And we were saying this. I'll tell you, as much as the offense is coming along, dude, that defense, man, they just do not disguise anything. And everything is so predictable. Yeah, you know, these quarterbacks, we were calling it therapy cover 2. That's the name of the Eagle defense, because every quarterback that goes and plays against the Eagle defense, this is perfect therapy for you. If you're coming in struggling,
exactly,
you just go against the Eagle defense. You're going to go 21 of 28, 356 yards, and you're going to get yourself back on track. Dude, they need to fix that really rapidly because, you know, I was talking about Darius Slay and that, and they were going like, and Gary goes, I don't personally think that he's fallen off the cliff in any way. I think it's the scheme he's in.
Yeah, well, and then he got hurt last week too, which obviously didn't help matters either. All right, we got to take a short time out. We'll be back in 4 minutes, talk more football. Harry Mays and, of course, the big Sills, Dan Sileo, sitting in for both Barrett Brooks and Eitan Shander. Back in 2.